So I thought of Velasquez, and it was at one level it's very simple because it is easel painting, and that you have a painting in front of you in which the painter is standing behind a canvas, partially visible, painting. So you don't see what he is painting. And by his side are some royal characters, including a princess who is a young woman called Infanta Margarita. And she has come with a retinue. She has got her maid servants. And there is also a kind of a, what you call, what is the word for those who remain very small, you know, midget, a kind of a midget. There were such, actually, there was a tradition in Europe to keep midget. They were a kind of a great, what shall we say? It was believed to be, I don't know, they might be having some kind of a mysterious function, but they used to keep midget around. Now what happens is that there is a large room in which the painter is standing against his canvas, of which we only see the back. We don't see what he is painting. But what we see in the distance is the image in a mirror. There is a mirror at the end. And the mirror reflects two figures. These two figures are of King and Queen of Spain. Now, any intelligent viewer would be able to imagine that they are standing in front of Velasquez, and perhaps he is painting their portrait. It's also very interesting that at the end of the room where the mirror is situated, there is a door, and out of the door a man literally at the doorstep is walking out. If you look a little further with the Margarita, that is the princess and the midget and the rest, there is a door through which somebody enters, one of the midget enters. It's also very interesting that the canvas doesn't complete in the painting. Canvas is partially visible. The part of the canvas is outside the painting you are looking at. And right in front, there is a huge dog, a very large dog that is sitting. Now, this is the description of the painting. Now, what happens? We have gathered that the painter is standing painting the king and queen, who are apparently outside the picture. And he has got a large canvas, almost about 8 foot. So he might be painting a full-size portrait, and that they are standing in front of him, and he is taking their likeness. This is a kind of you can imagine that this is what is happening. What is interesting is that painting of the two standing in front of Velasquez in the manner in which they are reflected in the mirror doesn't seem to exist. If it is lost, we do not know that he painted and such a painting was made, but that even at that level, suppose if it existed, but presently we have to put it aside because we do not know it, even if it exists. So if it doesn't exist, then what is he doing? What is he painting? Is he painting something? What is it? It's not something imaginary that is, obviously it is in his studio and the princess has come to look at him. So princess would not come just to wander around. There must be something, to look at, because why do you go to a studio of an artist? But the funniest and the most disturbing sensation you get the moment you realize that the point from where you are looking at the painting, you are standing, looking at the picture, and Velasquez is looking out of the painting, looking at the king and queen, supposedly king and the queen. And since king and queen are not there, who is there? It's you. Every viewer who looks at it is viewed by Velasquez from the painting. So every viewer who is viewing Velasquez is viewed by Velasquez. But then how can he paint every viewer? He is purportedly painting king and queen. But you have usurped the place of king and queen, because his eyes meet yours. Then you realize that since he is not painting you, and perhaps he has not painted king and queen, assuming that no painting of the king and queen exists, what is he painting? It's a very curious thing. Just imagine, every easel painting, if I may describe it, is painted from a particular point of space. You take photograph from a particular point, isn't it? The photography comes from that. Which means that this painting that we are looking at it, in which Velasquez is looking out, it's a 6 to 8 foot painting. And you are looking at this painting. Now that painting that Velasquez has painted, in which he himself figures, I'm sorry I'm repeating myself, but just to make myself clear, actually you are looking at a painting. You are looking at a painting in which Velasquez is looking out. Now, that painting that Velasquez has made of himself painting, where is it painted? Where has that view been taken from? It has been taken from the same place you are standing. The place that you are is the place of the artist. It is actually, am I clear on this? It's important to know that we are talking about the painting now. So, what is he doing? In one sense, he exists within the painting, looking out. In another sense, he continues to exist from the place where he has taken the view from. Am I clear? Which means it is between him and him. So if he is looking from where he has taken the view, what is he looking at? From the painting. He is looking at himself. So in a way, it's not the mirror that reflects the king and queen. It is actually a mirror which reflects both ways. And it reflects nothing but himself. So it is between the two selves of the artist. Am I clear on the two selves? One self which is inside the painting, who is and looking at us, and other is the artist when he painted the picture, when he stood at that particular point. And between the two mirrors, there is nothing else. What kind of visuality are we thinking about? Which visuality are we thinking about? I mean, if you want to go further into that, you would say that everything else is a prop except for the ego of the artist. Everything else is almost a theater, drama, Princess Margarita, king and queen sort of reflected in the mirror, the big dog. Everything is a prop. And what exists is what actually is immaterial. Something, which is physical at the same time totally immaterial. That it is between the two selves of the artist. One self of the artist is paint, because he is made of paint, because that he has painted himself. and another self of artist is not there. He was there only when he was painting. And then between those two mirrors, I think if you ever manage to see this painting, it is displayed in Prado, and you will find yourself totally destabilized. Because it purports to include you and doesn't, kicks you out. What he is painting is something else. What he is saying is something else. What he is painting is something we know. So in a sense, what Oscar Wilde said at one point of time is that the artists are liars. He used the word. In fact, it's such a lie that what you see is something which is what is given to you as kind of a truth and nothing but truth. But what is actually said is something what is, in an entirely different manner. There was also in this thing, if you go to 17th century, in mannerism, they developed a mode which is called concetto. Now, concetto is a very interesting term, and mannerists used it almost repeatedly. But one can even read concetto into different paintings, even prior to mannerism. Now, what is concetto? I don't know whether the example that I can give you is not of mannerist period, but of an earlier period. I don't know whether you are familiar with the paintings of Piero della Francesca, an Italian painter of the 15th century. There is a painting called Flagellation. Flagellation is about actually flagellating Christ. He is in front of the magistrate and he has been pronounced guilty. And so there is a man who has got a kind of a sort of a whip-like thing. It's not a whip, it's something which is spiky things, with him he is going to be beaten. But what is interesting is that this is only half the painting. And these figures are as if you are standing here, they are at a distance of about 20 feet. So that means they are at a middle distance. But in front, on the right of the painting, there are three men standing, large. They are at a distance of perhaps 4 feet or 8 feet at the maximum. And they occupy half the painting. They are all dressed in regalia. They are what? They are talking. Nobody knows. It's still not clear who they are. They are obviously Italian sort of merchants or regal royal figures. Their persona is of, they carry with them that kind of a authority, and they are dominating. They dominate so much that the image of Christ becomes secondary. And in fact, what they are talking about is also not clear. Their characters are not clear. Whether it is based in the time of Christ or is based in the 15th century, that becomes ambiguous. So in a way, concetto is where the image is thrown deliberately into the background. The main thrust of the image is at the back. And something which we might quote unquote insignificant or not important or something which is not related, becomes prominent, that comes forward. So, in a way, this idea is partially contained in the work of Velasquez.